Did someone have their hand raised? Yota? Yep. You're right. If you want to unmute, you're welcome to.
Hi.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Yep.
Yeah. Sometimes I can't hear you. Like you talk and then all of a sudden it stops for a few seconds and then it's back on again.
Okay. Anyone else having issues? Can everyone else hear me fine?
The audio is fine as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
I'm hearing loud and clear.
Cool. All right. Yeah, to see how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'll let you know if
Okay.
it
Cool.
drops.
Are you at home or in the office?
I'm in the office.
Okay. All right. Alrighty, folks. We might press on. Okay. So, look. First thing, thanks everyone for joining today's Lunch and Learn. My name's Ashley Lynham. For those of you who don't know me, I'm from the Woolworths collaboration and coaching team. Alrighty. So today we've got 3 of our Adobe Solutions consultants to talk us through all things Adobe Acrobat and Adobe Document Cloud. All right, so Fei Koo, Matthew Johnson, and Stephen Nichols. Alrighty, so they'll be here to answer all your questions as we go throughout the session. Like I said earlier, for those of us who have just joined, we are using the Q&A section built into Google Meet. If you're not familiar with that, it is down the bottom right-hand side, the triangle, square, and circle button. If you just hit that and go up to Q&A, you'll be able to type all of your questions in there as we go through. Okay, folks, we've just got on an hour. There's lots of content to get through, so without any further delay, I'm going to hand over to Fei. Cool, thanks, Fei.
Great. Thank you so much for the introduction, Ashley. Yeah, so we've got like the rest of the 55 minutes going through all things Document Cloud. So I'm just going to play a really quick video here before we get started. Okay, there we go.
You think you're an thinking? Lemonade stand. Lemonade stand! I shipped an offer letter days ago. Days! And he accepts an offer from a competitor first. Did you get the contract like that? If we're gonna get our help from those lemons, we'll need you onboarded as a vendor first. This is Susie from Life Gives You Lemons. Just wondering if you see my purchase agreement for that jug of lemonade we discussed? Yeah, of course he signed the NDA. I hope. Well, how many times do I need to send them? The best mixologist in town. Poof, gone. Just wrap it up Q2. Was hoping to log the sale before you head out for PTO. It should be the same price as last time. Let me see if I can find that old contract. Here somewhere. I thought standard post was fine. Overnight's just too expensive.
All right. That's a cute little video. Obviously, you know, we've kind of moved past like the lemonade stand situation because, you know, from 1993, that's when Adobe first invented Acrobat. That was the very first version that came out on 15th of June, which is kind of like yesterday, actually. We just celebrated the anniversary. And we moved on from that. We've added a lot more features to the whole Document Cloud suite of products. Acrobat is still the gold standard for creating PDF and also manipulating PDF across your desktop, web, and also your mobile environment. So present days, we've actually added a lot more products and also offerings within the Document Cloud umbrella. So our desktop application for Acrobat is the main focus for today's session. I'll be showing you a lot of different features that can hopefully accelerate your work as well as maybe your personal life as well using documents within Acrobat. I'll also touch on electronic signature. So, you know, the pandemic has really changed the ways that people interact with documents, as well as getting your documents signed off. So we're no longer requiring people to go into an office or maybe a branch to be able to sign off a document with, using a pen and paper. Everything can be done legally via electronic signature now. So I'll be touching on a little bit around how you can send out a signature for a kind of approval, or maybe for your contracts as well, to get the legally required e-signature on your documents. The other components under the Document Cloud umbrella is what we call document services. That's essentially a range of different PDF services that's cloud-based API to allow you to transform a document. So think about like when you do repetitive tasks, when you have to convert a document or create a document all the time, you're now able to do that in an automated fashion using the PDF Services API. And then lastly, we've got a range of integrations within the ecosystem. And today we're going to touch on the Google integrations more specifically, because, you know, the Woolworths group uses Google integration. So I've got 2 integrations I'm going to touch on throughout the session as well. So these are the main topics we're going to cover today. And then without further ado, I'm going to jump into the first one. The first one here is about create PDF. So there are a number of different ways that you can turn practically any file into a powerful PDF. You can do that in Acrobat. You can also do that from a scanned, like a scanner, a physical scanner. You can also convert them either through the Microsoft environment, or if you're on Google environment, you can convert them really easily into PDF. And lastly, that's all available within your mobile device as well. And now we also added the web environment. That's what's called Document Cloud web environment. You're going to be able to do a lot of that within the web environment. So if you step away from your computer, you're still going to be able to manipulate and create the PDF within a browser version. Now, I'm going to focus on Acrobat itself. So hopefully for the attendees on the call, you will have Acrobat Pro on your computer. This is a most used tool in Acrobat. So that's why we've got that in a left-hand corner, nice and loud, the first logo you will see in Acrobat. So to create a PDF, there are actually a number of different ways that you can do it. You can basically select any file from either your computer or maybe a online storage like Google Drive. You can create a PDF from a single file. You can also convert from multiple documents, screenshots from a scanner, web page, etc. So for today's session, I'm going to focus on the first 2, the single file and also multiple files, where you can create a PDF into from any file. So the first one here is I'll select the document. So for me, I've got a Word document that's sitting on my computer. I've selected it. And as you can see from the screen here, your document is automatically converted into a PDF once you select the desired file format. You can also convert it from like your Google Doc as well. So if you've got that exported as a document sitting on your computer, that can be easily done. A bit of a time-saving tip for you, which is about adding this desktop icon for the Acrobat icon as a shortcut. So if you actually have to convert files all the time, I would recommend adding this shortcut onto your desktop. So instead of opening Acrobat and finding the Create button, you can actually drag and drop the actual file into the desktop icon, Acrobat icon, and then it will convert into a PDF for you. So it's a really good speed tip if your job requires you to create PDF all the time. Another way that you can create PDF is actually combining multiple different files into one. And people don't tend to do that often, but it's actually a really great way to present your work a lot more professionally, and also making it a lot easier for people to consume. I've got on the screen here some potential issues when it comes to sending out an email, which we all tend to do, and attaching multiple files into an email. Well, first of all, the most important thing is around reading order. So if I receive a document like this, it's kind of hard for me to know which one I should be opening first. Everyone has a different idea. People might click on the random file. So there is no guaranteed reading order. And also in terms of the document, not all computers have the program or the application to open the desired file. And there's sort of other issues around file size as well, security, as well as deadline for review. So a lot of these potential issues when you attach multiple documents separately. We can actually solve that by combining all of the documents together into one professional looking PDF file. The way that you can do it is go to Acrobat Pro, and then you can select multiple files from Create PDF, and then you select the first option here. And once you're in that environment, you're going to be able to select files from your computer or your cloud solution or Google Drive that's connected to your computer. As you can see, I've got multiple file formats. So I've got Word document, I've got PowerPoint, I also have Excel. By combining and selecting the documents I want to combine, it gives the capability of reordering them before you combine them. So for example, if I need to send out a sales proposal, I need the customer to sign the NDA first before them viewing the actual contract process and pricing. I want to make sure this NDA page is the first page they see. So I can actually move them around to change the order. And then once I'm happy with the order, I can also go through the individual pages within each document as well. So in this PowerPoint, I've got a different arrangement for the pages. I actually want to delete some of the stuff, rearrange them. Instead of going back to the original PowerPoint document or the Google slide document, you have the capability of rearranging those pages within Acrobat before you combine them. So that's a really nice added speed tip feature as well. Once you're happy, you can combine them all of the pages together. And as you can see, you now have one organized file. It looks a lot more professional presented, and also it gives all of the issues are now resolved. So you can add a password if you choose to. I'll show you today how to do so as well. PDF is a universal file, so any computer, mobile, and tablet is going to be able to open this, and the user is going to be able to consume it. You can also reduce the file if you choose so in Acrobat as well to reduce the file size. And my favorite is around the reading order. There's a guaranteed reading order now that you can guarantee the person, the recipient is going to be viewing the document in the particular way that you want them to. So very professional looking when you combine all of them together. So I encourage you to try it out if you haven't already. If you are processing a lot of documents all at the same time, so if you've got a bulk file process that you want to create PDF from multiple files, this is also a really good way to process this as well. So instead of creating files individually, you can actually create and merge the files in bulk. So by choosing the second option here, it's going to give you an option to choose files, and also you can choose multiple folders for combining individual documents together into one PDF as well. So that's a good way to combine them together and be able to process it in bulk. Another way to create PDF is actually creating from a scanner. So this still sort of happens in the office sometimes if you've got old archive paper lying around that you want to convert them into a PDF. The quickest way is to go to the scanner that's connected to your computer or your network, and then you can select scanner option and then click on scan, and that's going to automatically scan the document into a PDF for you and convert that into a PDF. And then with paper that's been scanned into a document, the biggest issue is that's only a static image. It's not a document that you can copy and paste the text and images from. You can't manipulate it. There is actually a really easy way to convert an image that's got text on it into something that you can edit by using this feature called Enhanced Scan feature in Acrobat. So this feature allows you to select the image, and I'm going to do that for this brochure that I have on the desktop. And then you can automatically select this option that's using the Adobe Sensei AI. You can crop any background that's unwanted, and you can clean up the page. You can also select this tool called OCR, so optical character recognition. So this tool allows you to recognize the text, so the text can become editable and searchable. So it's really good for indexing, and also if you want to reuse the content without retyping them, you just need to click one click of a button called Recognize Text, and you can select whether you want to recognize both images, text, or both of them. And this is the end result. So once you select it, Acrobat is going to recognize the text for you. So now the text can be copied, edited, and also searchable. This edit PDF tool within Acrobat also allows you to do some simple editing. So in this particular case here, the AI did a good job to remove the background, but we missed some corners. You can actually go ahead and select them manually and press delete, so you can clean up the whole brochure. And now your document looks very, very neat. This text is editable, and also images you can copy and paste and reuse them as well. So a couple of clicks, simple processes in Acrobat using the enhanced scan feature. You're now able to not only scan the document, but also turn that static image into something that's editable and searchable. If you don't have a scanner, or if you're not in the office and working from home, you can actually download this application. It's free to download. You just need to log in with your Adobe ID or your Federated ID, and this is called Adobe Scan. So you can scan any paper into a digital document with just your iPhone or Android phone. This is a really great way of scanning your receipts as well. So if you need to do a expense report, you've got receipts lying around, that's also a good way to do it. And I personally do that all the time when I go travel. Instead of having the paper lying around, I actually scan all of them in using Adobe Scan. So when I get back to the office, when I have time, I can sort them and then do my expense report and chuck away all the original paper receipts. So to do so, you just need to download the app, and I'll show you a really quick demo of what that looks like. This is using the AI Adobe Sensei again. You can recognize the form, you can recognize the text using the document. Business card, it's not so often that we see them anymore, but that's still a feature in there as well. So you just need to hover your phone over the actual paper document. Adobe Sensei automatically detects the edges, so you can also change them around if you want it. You also have the ability to reorder the pages before you confirm a PDF, like save it as a PDF. So if you got multiple pages, that's also an easy way to change them around. You can also change the orientation, rotate them. You can crop them as well. You can change the color. So if you want to change the color document into a black and white one, you can choose that option. So there's a lot of different tools that you can play around with. This one over here, it's called a cleanup tool. So if you've got a stain on the piece of paper, it doesn't look very professional or doesn't look very clean, you can actually use that little rubber button to clean up the coffee stain, like the one we have here. And when you save this document, it's going to look nice and clean without the coffee mark. Here we go. And then now I've cleaned up the document, I can go ahead and save the document. I can change the name as well before I save it. And I also, this document will be automatically uploaded into your Document Cloud account. So when you go back to your desktop or when you access Document Cloud from your web browser, you're going to be able to have a copy of this automatically archived into the Adobe Scan folder within the Document Cloud environment. And also you can choose to share it directly from your mobile. So if you're using this to send out a document to your boss, you can directly share it from your email as well within your mobile environment. So it's a really good way to just have that handy on your mobile. And this is what that looks like when you go to the web environment. There's actually different ways that you can also convert documents as well. So the one that I mentioned earlier, using Acrobat to convert the document or to create, you also have the capability to do that within the web browser environment. So there's a bunch of different options for you to choose from. All right, moving on to the next topic, which is about the edit functionality. This is actually the second most used feature in Acrobat. A lot of people have PDF and they want to make quick edits. This is where you do it in Acrobat. You go into Acrobat and then you click on this button called Edit PDF. And this is going to allow you to change the text, images. You can also add footer and header as well. So if you want to make some changes to that, to make it look a little bit more consistent. You can also have the option to add link. You can crop pages, you can add watermarks and so on. There's like a lot of different options that you can edit your document using Acrobat edit functionality within the desktop environment. So if you're making small changes, I'll definitely recommend you to do that. If you are making like a lot of different changes, and if the document originally came from a different authorizing environment, for example, if the document was designed in InDesign and you want to make a lot of changes, I'll still recommend you to go back to the original program to make those changes. It's a lot easier there, but really depends on the situation. Most people, most knowledge workers in the office probably want to use the Acrobat edit functionality to make quick changes like what we're doing here. You can also make these changes on your PDF on the go using the Acrobat Reader application. So you can download them on your mobile or your tablet. This allows you to make quick edits to text and images within the mobile environment. So if you're sitting in a cafe, you want to make changes before you send out the final version to your boss or your client, I definitely recommend you to try out the Acrobat Reader application so you don't have to wait until you get back to your laptop to do that. You also have the capability to edit text and images within the Acrobat web environment. So that's also a very nice added feature in the web environment now. Another really great use of Acrobat is actually looking at the convert functionality. So sometimes you only have a PDF and then you're wondering, hey, I don't really have the original authorizing file. Maybe it came from Word or PowerPoint. How do I export the PDF back into the original authorizing file if I don't have it? The answer is actually really simple. You just need to go into Acrobat and then select Export PDF. On the right-hand side, there is a shortcut as well. You can choose your desired output format. So for this PDF, the NDA, it obviously looks like it came from a Word document, or maybe people authorize it from a Google document as well. So you can actually convert that PDF back into the Word document really easily, like what we're doing here. You can also do that to Excel. With the tables, rows and tables as well. You can also convert or export PDF back into a PowerPoint version. So these are very handy tips if you have to convert documents back and forth. And yeah. And the next one here I'm going to cover, which is a huge topic around Google integrations. I know the audience here at Woolworths Group, you guys all use Google integrations. I'm going to introduce some great features to enhance that experience every time when you touch a PDF, or if you want to manipulate or organize a PDF within the Google Workspace or Google Drive environment. So you can be a little bit more productive and hopefully saving you some clicks so you don't have to download the document, re-upload them over and over again. So to do so, you just need to have the Adobe Acrobat or a document cloud, what we call them now, the add-in from Google Drive. It can be downloaded. If you just Google Adobe Document Cloud add-on for Google Drive, it will pop up. You should be able to have that ability to add it yourself if you don't see that. If not, feel free to reach out to the IT team. They should be able to enable it for you as well. Once it's enabled, you have the option to create PDF. You can also organize pages. You can combine the files, export PDF, and also send out for signature, all from within the Google Drive environment. And it's really easy to use and learn as well. And I'm going to show you some of these functionalities here so you can pick it up right away after this training session. So the first one here you will see is when you open the document. Let me go back a slide. Normally, you just open the document. It's going to convert your PDF into a Google Doc. A lot of people actually see this as a bit of an issue sometimes because the PDF viewer in Google Doc isn't the best environment sometimes. When you convert them, the fonts are not really converted unless they're embedded properly. So we recommend using the add-on. So instead of opening in Google Doc, you can right-click and open it with Acrobat for Google Drive. So this is what it looks like. It's using the Acrobat environment, the PDF viewer. You can also have these functionalities to organize, combine, export, and send for signature. If you're opening multiple files, you'll have the edit menu option for a single non-PDF file. So you can convert them or combine them. And for multiple files, this is the option that you'll see when you click on edit. And if you open a PDF file in this preview window, you also have the ability to convert them. And as you can see, it's just going to ask you to select the file that you want to convert. So if it's a Google Doc document over here, you can select it, and then that's going to automatically convert into a PDF, then saved it in your desired Google Drive location. You can also combine files together as well. So in edit, in the preview mode, you can combine different documents. You can combine Google Sheets. You can combine Google Slides, and then some of the other PDF file formats into one single PDF. So just like how I did it on the desktop, you have that extended power of operating, combining the files to a single PDF or within the Google Drive environment. And that's what that looks like. So when you combine, you can select more file. There's a little icon there with the plus sign, and you can go ahead and select the file that you desire, and it's going to combine into one for you. Another really great way to use this extension is export PDF. And this comes with the added capability of OCR. So the one that we talked about when you convert the images and text into editable characters, you have the capability to do that within Google Drive environment as well. And all you have to do is click on Export PDF. So you can convert or export that PDF, and then having the OCR feature so you can interpret those texts and convert them. And that's what that looks like when you choose the export PDF. You have the option to export as a different format. So you can choose Word document. You can choose a bunch of other options over here as well that's compatible within the Google Drive environment. If you have a document that's got multiple pages in there and you want to reorganize the pages in the PDF, you can use this option. It's called Edit. And then you just need to click on Organize Pages. And once you click that, that's going to allow you to see a full view of all the pages within the document. Like what we have here, we've got 5 different pages in there. I want to reorder them around. So instead of having to download them into my desktop, I can do that within the Google Drive environment. I can also add additional pages as well. I can drag them around, reorder them. I can change the orientation as well, as you can see from here. So it's a really good feature to just have that capability in Google Drive. And the last feature in the Google Drive integration with Adobe Document Cloud is the ability to send out signature directly from within Google Drive. This requires you to have the Adobe Acrobat license, but there is a shortcut that you can add and then you can bring that power into Google Drive. So for example, if you're working on a contract that you need to send out, you've got that saved in Google Drive. You can actually send it out for signature all within the environment without having to manipulate the document in another format. So it's also really good, powerful way of using the Google Drive integration. Another integration that we have is called the Acrobat Extension. So you can actually go to Google Chrome browser, just like how you have other extensions on your browser, you have the ability to download the extension for Acrobat. So you can set Acrobat as the default PDF viewer and allows you to, really bring that power into Google Chrome environment. So whenever you open a PDF in a website, you're going to have the Acrobat PDF viewing experience, which is really a great way of viewing the PDF in the Chrome environment. So I suggest you to try that out if you haven't already. I believe, anyone can download extension. Depends on your IT setting, but that's also a really great way to see that. Another way to incorporate your Google Drive folder is to actually go to Acrobat. So in Acrobat itself, you can add files from your computer, from the desktop version, but also you have the ability to actually connect it to other environment. In this one here, I'm showing the Google Drive integration. So I can actually add all of the files that I have that's kind of sort of migrated from Google Drive. So I can manipulate them. I can make a lot of changes all within my Acrobat desktop environment. So you can connect it in any way that you want. All right, so second part of our session is going to cover a little bit more advanced topics. So I picked out a couple of them. This one here is about protecting your document. It's a really good tool to have. That's an Acrobat Pro only feature. And I typically like to break it down into two different sections. So the first one is to control who can open your document. If you've got a sensitive document that you don't want everyone to end up opening, you can add password protection. And also you can prevent them from editing your content as well. So if it's a public facing document, you might want to do so. Another option is actually to redact information. So if you've got any PII or any credit card information that's super sensitive or finance information that you don't want to share with everyone, you can actually redact them permanently. So when you send out a document, the recipient's not going to see those sensitive information. So I'll show you both of the options in Acrobat Pro DC. So the first one here is to add a password protection. So you can prevent others from opening or editing the information within your PDF. To do so, you just need to go to Acrobat Pro and then open this feature called Protect PDF. And then once in the environment, it's going to ask you to choose whether you want to add a password for viewing or stop them from editing. So the first one here is viewing. I've added a password. So that means when the recipient sees this document from you, they're not going to be able to open this unless they've got the password. So I suggest you send out the password in a separate email or maybe a text message and to protect the integrity of the password. But also make sure that you have a password memorized or saved in the password chain, because once the document is protected, you can't unprotect it unless you remember the password. I personally like to save a separate copy. So I've got a non-protected version and also a protected version. So I can always go back to the original file if I forget about the password. So it depends on how you would like to manage this. That's my personal sort of preference. You can also add a password protection to edit. So when people receive your document, say for example, it's a financial report or annual report, that you don't want people to end up editing those information or manipulate them, I would strongly suggest any public facing documents that you have should be protected in some way. And you can add the password protection to editing. So this is what the user experience look like. The person is going to be able to open the document, but they can't change any password in there. they can't change any content in there because the document is protected with the password protection. So you can also change the security properties. So if you want to customize them, you can go to change settings. You can change the password. You can also change the printing option. So if you want to restrict printing or in a different resolution, you can also prevent them from commenting and making changes as well. You can also change and customize the encryption option. The higher the encryption is, the later the version of Acrobat is required. So you can sort of choose which compatible Acrobat version is going to be required for your encryption. Second part of protecting your document is actually removing sensitive information. So what we call redacting. Redaction is a really great way to remove information permanently. So if you've got any redaction that you've done in the past, or maybe do that as a part of your role, we'd really love to hear how you are using it today, either in Acrobat or in another tool. So feel free to participate in this in the chat pod. I'm going to show you one way of doing redaction. I see a lot of people doing it. It's not recommended, and I'll show you why in a second. We see a lot of people do that in Microsoft Office or Word, or maybe in your Google slide. You add black boxes and then change the text color. Visually, it looks like the document has been redacted, but it's actually not the proper way, because if I receive this document and I've got Acrobat Pro, I can actually remove these images and change the text color, and all of a sudden these redacted information becomes available again. So it's definitely not recommended if you want to protect your sensitive information. In Australia, we actually have the Privacy Act. So when you handle PII, you got to be extra careful because if you accidentally release these information, your organization or yourself can actually be litigated against with fines as well. And there are a couple of examples that I've actually seen. A recent one from, I think, New Zealand police. They accidentally released a PDF with their undercover information on there, like their names. So that's definitely not a good way to release a information to the public. But you can actually change this by using the proper redaction tool in Acrobat. I like to break down the redaction method into 3 simple steps. The first one here is to mark up the document. So if you got a document that you want to manually mark up, you can do so. The second step is to actually double check everything is marked properly for redaction. So I would like to do that with a pattern search. So you can look for keywords. You can also look for patterns like credit card information or email addresses in bulk. So you can mark them all in one go. And then lastly is about applying the redaction. So the final step to remove the information with the option to sanitize the document to remove any underlying metadata. So the first step here is to mark up the document for redaction. As you can see here, I'm just in Acrobat. I'm scrolling down. I found my redact tool. And then I'm just going to go ahead and select manually of the text information that I want to redact. So this one here has 2 pages, this document. So I can actually go over the document quite easily using the manual selection. I am redacting or selecting the images as well as text. So as you can see, I've got a whole page of pricing information that I don't really want people to see. So I can actually go over the entire page with the markup. You can also go ahead and double check that everything is done properly or marked properly using the keyword search. So you just need to go to the drop down and find the text. So the first one here, I'm just finding the phrases. I've just noticed that I missed the company name actually in one selection. So I'm going to go ahead and select all. And then the other option is to actually do a pattern search. So if you've got any information around credit card information, or if you have a phone number or email addresses, you can even build your own as well, by the way. You can actually go ahead and select all of them for a data pattern search. So over here, I've got email addresses that can be selected. And the last step before we apply this is to make sure everything is done properly. I also recommend having a separate copy of this that's unredacted. So that means I'm able to go back to the original file myself and find the information and have a separate redacted copy of this. So just to future-proof your information. And then if you're happy with this, you can go ahead and click apply. Just make sure that you've got everything covered, because once you apply the document, you cannot go back. The information is redacted permanently. And over here, as you can see, I also have the option to sanitize the document. To sanitize the document, it's really looking at information that's underlying, that's not visual. So for example, any bookmarks or links or any metadata about the author, bookmarks, and everything else can be redacted using this option. So that's called a sanitize option. So I can go over these individually, remove them, just making sure nothing is exposed in these metadata. And done. That's all you need to do. And now your information is fully redacted. You can send this out without having to, worry about the information leaked into the general public, like the New Zealand police scenario. The redaction tool in Acrobat has actually been tested by the Australian Cybersecurity Centre, and it is considered the gold standard for redaction. So next time, if you need to redact information, I would recommend you to try out the tool in Acrobat Pro DC. All right, moving on to our next topic, which is about filling out a form or a document electronically without having to print them out, either on the desktop or on their mobile environment, but also having the ability to request a signature for any legally compliant documents. So for your HR documents perhaps, or if you work in sales, you've got contracts that you need to send out, you can request signature for electronic signature using Adobe Acrobat Sign. So I'll show you both scenarios. So the first one here is quite straightforward. If you receive a form, actually you can do that on any PDF document, doesn't have to be a design form. You can complete that on screen using the Acrobat Fill and Sign feature. And as you can see, I've got this conference registration form. I can select the tool to add my text, just like how I would do that using pen and paper. You can also add your name. And once you're done with this document, you can go ahead and apply your own signature. And I sort of like to do this with any document that doesn't require any legal signature. So if it's a registration form, I'm not going to the court for this document, so I can use this quite easily and apply my own signature. Or if you've got scenarios like your kids' school form, like permission form, you can use this as well. And as you can see, there are actually a couple of different options as well. You can draw your signature. You can add an existing image of your signature. You can also type it out on screen as well. Once this is all done, you can save that as a PDF, add your password if you don't want people to copy and paste the image of your signature, and send it out. You can also complete that in the Acrobat web environment. So just so you know, you don't actually have to stick with the desktop environment. You can also do that on both Apple devices as well as Android devices from your tablet and mobile. All right, so the next part is about sending out a document for electronic signature. A lot of times for documents that require legal signature, this is where we recommend you to sort of initiate the signature process from. Again, this requires you to have the Acrobat Sign license, but I'll show you what that looks, what the workflow looks like within different environment. So the one I'm actually going to show you today is the Google Drive integration, because instead of you having to go to the Acrobat Sign portal, which is a web environment as well, you can actually do that from within your Google Drive environment. So if you got a document like this, a legal document that needs to be signed off, you can actually open it up in the preview, Acrobat preview from the plugin, and then you go to edit. And then the drop down will show you send for signature. So you can choose that, and then you can add your recipient. So that will bring up the portal for you within Google Drive. You can select who you're sending it to. You can also select where the desired folder, where you want to save the document to be as well. You can also track your existing or sent agreements using these two buttons. So you can track agreement. You can also send another directly after you send out an agreement in Google Drive. From the signer's experience, a signer will receive an email with a link to open. So they don't need to actually have Acrobat or Adobe product to sign the agreement. They just need connection to the internet, and also they can sign it off using their web or mobile devices as well. All they have to do is click on this review and sign button from their email address, and then they can open it and sign it off. For you as an initiator, you have the ability to track agreements that's sent out for signature. So in your Google Drive environment, when you send a document, it's automatically archived in your Google Drive, but also you have different file extensions to show you the agreement status. So you have in progress, you can have completed document, failed if like it didn't get signed off, or expired document that's past the expiration date. So they can all be tracked within your Google Drive environment. You also have the ability to view all agreements. So all of them that's been archived in your Adobe Acrobat Sign dashboard by clicking edit in the preview and then go to agreements. So this will bring up all agreements within your Adobe Sign environment. So that's also a really great way to track them. As you can see, you can track them by different statuses. You can look at in progress, waiting for you, completed, and so on. And the last topic for the day is around sharing and reviewing document, because we're working in the hybrid environment. You want to be able to collaborate with your team members or maybe even your customers as well. So having the share and review tool in Acrobat is really going to accelerate that collaboration and hopefully making the experience a lot better, whether you're in the office or on the go. So the first one I'll show you is around the Google Drive integration again, and I'll show you how to do that in Acrobat itself as well. So in Google Drive, you also have the ability to share the comments. So over here, as you can see, if I've got a PDF, I can actually go ahead and click on these little buttons, icons in the preview environment. So in this document, I've made a couple of comments. I can actually invite my colleagues to comment as well. So if you want to share this in the Google Drive environment, they can all collaborate and add comments and sticky notes. You can also invite people to comment in the Acrobat environment as well. So in Acrobat itself, there are a couple of options. The first one here is to share a PDF for review using the Document Cloud review service. Everyone has that enabled as part of your Document Cloud license. So you can easily share these PDF from within your Acrobat desktop application using a web link. So you can send out a web link to anyone you want, whether it's inside your organization or an external party. You can invite them to collaborate and provide feedback on your document. You also have the ability to send it out via email as well. So if you want an individual feedback process that's not in a shared environment, you can send out by email. There's also another option called Send for Shared Commenting. This one is becoming less popular now because most people are using the Document Cloud review option with the link, but you also have the option to send it via a shared drive. So if your IT set up an internal server, you can upload and dump the document into the server as well. But for the session today, I'm going to focus on the Document Cloud review option. This is the most frequently used option, and I personally use this when I share a PDF for review. So to do so, you just need to start the Document Cloud hosting option. So you need to upload your document into Document Cloud from this little icon here, directly under the close button in your desktop environment. So This is really good because when person receive this document, they don't need to have Acrobat to review. They just need to open it directly from within a browser environment. To invite people, you just need to include their email addresses and then toggle on this option to allow for comments. You can also set a deadline. So if you need a certain due date for your document review, you can set up this reminder as well as the due date. So Document Cloud is going to automatically send out a reminder if your recipient hasn't done their review and feedback by a certain date. So you don't actually have to do that manually yourself to set up a calendar invite. All right, so the recipient's viewing experience, they receive a email notification that invites them to open the document to review. So when they open this, it will open up in the browser. We've got Chrome browser here. It's going to ask you to either open it in, remain in the browser to continue, or you can open it in Acrobat. Depends on how you want the experience to be. Different people have different preferences, so we allow them to do both. If you remain in the web environment, you have a good set of markup tools. You can comment, you can highlight, you can underline, strike through the text. You can also edit them with your comments as well. And then once you're done, the review initiator will receive an activity update. So they will get notified once you've added your comments. You can also access your documents that's being shared to your colleagues or your external customers by going to Acrobat and go back to the shared toolbar. Underneath, there is an option called Share by You. So it has a track record of all of the document that's been shared by Document Cloud by you as well. So it's a good way to go back and review them. And then you can see a live status of how many comments have been added and then also the last activity. In the Acrobat environment, if you choose to open the document in Acrobat, you have the option to sort of see all of the comments on the right-hand side panel as well. You also have the ability to see them live within Acrobat. And a final little tip here is for all of the documents that you send out for review, you can actually collect a summary of the comments. If you need to go back to archive or if you need to save a record, for example, for auditing purposes, you want to see who's commented and who's asked you make those changes, you can actually go to the 3 dots in Send for Comments and you can create a comment summary. So this is what it looks like side by side. You've got the original document that's been edited, revised, and commented. You have a summary of the changes that's been requested as well. So that's a really good way to save a record of all changes and comments. All right, so with that, we've got a couple minutes left. I'm just going to take a quick pause here to see if there's any outstanding questions in the chat pod. And we've got a little survey at the end as well. I'll pop that survey into the chat box so you guys can answer as well. Steve and MJ, if you guys are still on, is there any outstanding questions in the chat pod?
No, there's
sorry, mate. There was a really interesting question about editing within Google Drive. There was an edit button within Google Drive, but Belinda isn't able to see that option in her web version. So is there a plugin that's working here?
Yeah, there should be a plugin. It's either enabled on your account by your IT, so across your organization, or if you have the ability to add it yourself, I can pop the link into the chat pod so everyone has it and you can try it out. If it doesn't work, I can connect with Ashley offline to see if we can get that enabled for all of the users on this call. I'll pop the link in the chat pod so you guys have it.
So folks, just on some of that, we are working at the moment in the background internally within Woolworths to get those add-ons for Adobe enabled.
Yep.
There was a question around mobiles as well. So
Okay.
those apps will also be whitelisted eventually.
Yep.
So yeah, that is all happening. We're probably just a little bit little bit behind the times at the moment, but we will get there. Okay.
Okay. All right. I'll pop this in there anyway. I mean, it depends on the sort of your permission. Some organizations don't allow you to download additional application. I'll pop in there if you want to try it out, but otherwise, as Ashley said, you probably need to wait until that's enabled in your organization in order to use those really great shortcuts. I know you're very eager to try it out because they're really, really great in terms of like time saving. So you don't have to click multiple buttons to get there, but I'll work with Ashley to make sure that's enabled for the people on this call. Great.
Ben's just got some questions on the construction drawing and editing in respect to PDFs as well. So that's actually probably, you know, like a bit of a half-hour session on its own, Ben.
Yeah.
There is lots of editing tools. You also can open and close different layers within a PDF, because a PDF can be authored with multiple layers, and typically construction drawings from different applications, MarkCAD and others, will have lots of layers. So we can really break those down into multiple layers and add various elements of drawings. We can also do a lot of specific, I'm just trying to think of the word, where you, scale. You can use scale functions within PDFs as well. So
yeah. So kind of like for today's session, it's just kind of resetting everyone's like PDF, like all Acrobat knowledge. So we've just covered quite basic topics here for your everyday, like I guess like office use cases. But Ben, like if you want us to do a separate session, we're more than happy to set up more of an advanced one. So I think from the back of this session, we'll gather some feedback. So I've just posted the feedback form in there. I think like the Q&A is also recorded as well. So we'll do a follow-up and organize another session to go over more advanced topics. And we'll definitely look to do, you know, how to do like construction drawing, measuring, scale, and so on, as Steve mentioned. So that will be included in the advanced session in the very near future.
Thanks, folks. All right, I know we've only got 1 minute left, but look, I just want to thank everyone for taking the time to join today's Lunch and Learn. Obviously, like Faye said, it is a very new sort of concept for us. We are still developing it. So all the feedback that you guys can give us is much appreciated. And like Faye said, we will also tailor these sessions more to what you guys need, okay? Also, special thanks to Faye, Matthew, and Stephen for the session. Really, really great. Also, for any questions or concerns that you guys might have, the tech coaches will also field those. All right, you can reach us at tech.coaches@woolworths.com.au. But yeah, for now, I think everyone, have a great day. Thanks again.
Great. Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day.
Thanks all.
Bye.